Okey-doke.
Good morning, everyone. The Delaware County Commissioner meeting for February 11th, 2021 is now in session. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With that, I'm going to make some introductions. I'm Gary Merrill, President of the Board. To my left is Vice President Commissioner Lewis. To her left is Commissioner Benton. And Don's with us today. Mike's out of the office. And our Jennifer and Sarah as our clerks. And Jennifer, I believe you're leading you today. Or Sarah's leading you today.
Resolution number 21-102, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held February 8th, 2021.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 21-102. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-103, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CMAPR 0210, and memo transfers in batch numbers MTAPR 0210.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 21-103. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-104, in the matter of setting a date and time for viewing public hearing for consideration of a petition filed by Jennings Land Development, LLC, and others for the vacation of a portion of the existing McNamara ditch and drainage easement and the creation of a new relocated section of the ditch with a new easement.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. I just make this point. We're going to have a busy time coming with all these hearings in the next few months.
Yeah. This one is for it's going to help the Jennings Sports Complex be developed in Evans Farm. So
Yep.
this is a really good one.
They're all good. They're all good.
Yeah, they're all good, but this one is going to help an important development move further. So good to see.
Vote.
Vote on motion 21-104. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-105, in the matter of approving a congested flight area path plan letter in support of proposed Ohio development of agricultural aircraft operations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Good morning, Eric Hostetler. If you recall, we did this last year when the state was doing their aerial gypsy moth treatments. Federal regulations require the local governmental entity authorize the flight plan, and so that's what this letter provides. I'm happy to answer any questions.
It doesn't seem like it's been a year. Time goes
It doesn't.
quickly. Any other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 21-105. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-106, in the matter of approving a letter for the proposed increase of indigent defense funding in the state fiscal year 2022-2023 budget.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
I think this is in response to Commissioner Merrill's comment the other day that we ought to send a thank you letter, to describe it that way, to Governor DeWine for proposing that the indigent defense get almost fully funded. I mean, real close. So it's good to see.
And just to reiterate, and this is a good thing. It's something the CCO has been working on for a number of years, and we seem to be getting closer. And so kudos to our governor and all those who hopefully will support this.
Absolutely.
With that, vote.
Vote on motion 21-106. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
That brings us to administrator reports.
Commissioner Benton.
Just a couple things. We've got a CCAO budget call tomorrow morning to discuss the overall overview of the governor's proposed budget. The detailed budget has not been released yet, so we can't see all the exact details, but the overview has been released, and we're going to have a call to talk about that. Land Bank is next Wednesday, I think, Sarah?
Yes.
2 o'clock, since we're not in session on Monday. That's
Yes.
coming up.
Yep, it is.
So that's all I got.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes, there was one settlement made from McKinsey and Company in the terrible opioid crisis, which actually, unfortunately, has gotten worse during COVID. But I just want to read a paragraph from our policy analyst at CCAO, Rachel Massoud. CCAO members, this week consulting firm McKinsey and Company agreed to a $573 million national settlement for its role in the opioid crisis. Under the settlement terms, Ohio will receive $24.7 million, with $20 million coming to Ohio this year and $4.7 million spread over the next 4 years. Ohio Attorney Dave Yost stated in a release that the settlement dollars will be distributed according to the One Ohio Partnership. Under One Ohio, local governments will receive 30% of the settlement funds. Of the remaining 70%, 15% will go to the state and 55% will go to a foundation for long-term abatement. And this is a very important settlement. We were a part of this lawsuit, and the idea for 55% going to the foundation was really learning and taking the knowledge from the past when there was a foundation started with the tobacco settlement, and that is something that is ongoing. And that means that the money needs to be spent and will be spent for abatement of the opioid crisis, and not for, unfortunately, with the tobacco settlement, the money with the foundation for the tobacco settlement went to mitigate problems with tobacco. But the other part of it did go for different things, and which was not the intention of the settlement. So the 55% for the foundation is a good idea. It'll have a lot of good, long-lasting effects.
I may or may not agree with you on the division or how they're dividing it, so I'm not going to comment on that. I do think we asked either Mike or Eric to sit on, there's a discussion from NACO next week, I believe it is, and
Yes.
I think Eric is going to try to sit in on that, or virtually.
Eric,
So-
did you like to add anything to what I said? Any clarify? Okay. Okay, thank you. Yes, Eric has been great advising us on this settlement too, taking
Okay.
part with this whole lawsuit. So it's been a little while, but at least we're getting some money for it. So that's all.
Okay. I have one thing. Monday is President's Day, and we're not in session. And I think it's one of the holidays that kind of gets passed over and overlooked. And the fact that my birthday is in February has nothing to do with my comments here. So, if you look back on the presidents, and I list my favorite presidents here, and everybody have a different list, and I kept it non-current. I stopped at Ronald Reagan just because I don't want to get involved in the, let's say, the drama that seems to have followed since Reagan. But George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, because he was our president during World War II, and Harry Truman, who basically helped end the war after our Franklin Roosevelt passed, Dwight Eisenhower, who was one of the great generals in the World War II, John F. Kennedy, and Ronald Reagan. But I want to kind of emphasize the first three just a little bit. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. These three men put everything on the line for the independence of our country. If we had failed to be successful in that war, their property, these are fairly wealthy men by standards, they were willing to risk everything for independence. And that's something I'm not sure we're as willing to do today. And the admiration for those three, in my view, is considerable. But yet today we see statues torn down, we see schools being renamed, and these three presidents, more than any, should be honored for what they have done and what they did and the things we enjoy today. The unintended consequences is something we talk about a lot. These three and everyone else involved in the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, their foresight in putting those documents together to give us a working document that we can live by all these years later, it's really unbelievable. The pros and the cons and the protections they put into those documents. So I just hope everybody will take a moment to remember our presidents, especially those three, because I think those three have been particularly maligned over the last year. And with that, I have nothing else, and I think we do have need for executive session.
Resolution number 21-107, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment of a public employee or public official for pending or imminent litigation for security arrangements and emergency response protocols.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote?
Vote on motion 21-107. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We are now in executive session.